Hey, Armand here with your forecast for the week of April 25th, 2021. Yeah, I have a little trouble remembering exactly what day we're starting on, but starting on Sunday, we're really going to start talking about Monday. Now, a quick word about these forecasts, just so you kind of keep it in your mind. General weather forecast. It's not about you. It's not about you. I mean, given that people who watch me probably have some resonance, so it's probably a little bit better than on average for the 8 billion people on the planet. But it's not about you any more than when the meteorologist says it's going to rain in your area. They can't tell you that you're going to get soaking wet. In the same way, this is a general forecast. It really shows up mostly in the collective. It'll show up in like group activities, parties back when we had parties, Zoom meetings, things like that. This is the general vibe that you're liable to feel in those places. Still in all, if these things don't hit your chart directly, you're probably not going to feel them very much. They'll just be, just like it's a cloudy day type of thing. It doesn't really throw you one way or the other. Sunny day, cloudy day, it's there, but it doesn't necessarily have all that much intensity for you. Not like you're going to get a sunburn or soaking wet necessarily. It's just the weather. And even if it hits your chart in a particular way, if you're kind of going well in the relevant areas of life, it probably doesn't do much more than give you a little bit of a hiccup here and there. It's not going to do much. So, and why do I mention that again this week? No reason. Okay, it's the week of the Scorpio full moon, and that is on Monday. And it's a very scorpionic plutonic week because not only do we have the Scorpio full moon on Monday, we have Pluto stationing to retrograde on Wednesday. The beginning of this week is quite intense. Power struggles are possible and in some respects likely. And we're going to see this quite bit of push-pull among things this week again. So this is a very, very intense time. Let's think about that Scorpio full moon. Well, it's always a little bit of a challenge because the moon doesn't like to be full. The moon doesn't like to be exposed in general. That's a full moon, lunacy, right? Things get a little bit out of hand, a little too emotional type of thing. And the moon particularly doesn't like being in Scorpio because Scorpio is a cutting sign. It keeps going and digging for things. And of course, the moon being made of cream cheese is quite vulnerable to this cutting. So we have the big moon is exposed and is being cut into or being probed and examined. It is like Luna's annual trip to the gynecologist or something like that. It is not a time that is typically very easy for us emotionally. It is Wesak, the Buddha's birthday. I think if you were born on the Scorpio full moon, you probably go around trying to seek enlightenment. It makes a lot of sense. As we look at this moon, it's a full moon that's going to sort of bring things to the surface. But the problem with Scorpio full moon is that it brings more to the surface than we really need. It brings up a lot of stuff. Now, over the course of the last couple of years, when there were a lot of planets in Capricorn, Pluto and Saturn and Jupiter, and Ceres was there for a long time, the Scorpio moon had a little bit of an advantage. It was communicating, it was shifting and changing things. It wasn't quite the retentive moon that it can be. But now that Jupiter and Saturn have moved into Aquarius, we have a different story going on. And so we have the inherent conservatism or protectionism of Scorpio. And then we have the more progressive, egalitarian vibe from the planets in Aquarius. And they're kind of hitting each other. So this full moon is pretty much square to Saturn. And so we're going to be definitely feeling some of that in the collective, sort of push-pull. Now, Mars has moved into Cancer. Mars moved into Cancer on Friday, the 23rd. We'll be there until June 11th. Mars in Cancer's got a lot of clannishness about it. It's a pretty conservative placement as well. It's that kind of, me and my kinfolk type of thing. It's that sort of protectionism that goes with that. It's not great for asserting individual will, but it is very good for protecting the group, the clan, the family, local organic type of stuff. Not so much the people that you connect with, because, you share their values, but rather, the people that are around you in a physical kind of sense. So we have the Scorpio moon and we have Mars in Cancer kind of pulling towards the conservative, protectionist kind of vibe. And then on the other hand, we have the Aquarius planets that are pushing more for opening up, socializing, connecting with others, standing on principles, not we happen to be from the same place, so we're together, rather than like, we agree about these things and this is why we're together. So those two forces are kind of clashing with each other. Pluto is stationing on Wednesday, and that Pluto station really just extends the vibe of the Scorpio full moon, right? So we have this kind of intensity that Pluto stations really, they can really get you irritable. Scorpio full moon can get you irritable. Some people are just irritable anyway. The sense though is that with the Pluto station, it's a little bit of like who's really in charge here. It resonates very much with the Sun square to Pluto that we had a couple of weeks ago. It's that same kind of who's in charge here. But with Pluto stops in the sky, it's like, wow, we hit this kind of transformational death rebirth thing. Now people love to say, oh, death and rebirth, but what they really mean is death and rebirth. It goes both ways. So how can you take the beginning of the week energy and use it productively? Well, let's think about the end of the week, because on Friday we have another firecracker aspect, and that is the Sun meeting with Uranus. And here we have this real push for liberation, for freedom, for moving forward with things. This is very much, again, in the kind of vibe of the Aquarius planets, but it is especially, it's actually square to the Aquarius planets. So I suppose there is a little bit of tension there. It's the need for individual freedom and expression. So if we take the beginning of the week in light of the end of the week, what do we have? It could be a really good time to get rid of stuff. If something isn't working in your life, if someone isn't working in your life, it's maybe time to bring them out to the curb, say kick them to the curb is a little bit rough, but bring them to the curb. It could be at work, it could be in a personal relationship, it could be in a lot of different things. Keep in mind, however, that while this is very productive for you, that things that don't work, I'm getting rid of them so that I can seed things that are working for me. That's terrific. But keep in mind that the flip side of this is you may be the one being kicked to the curb. And it may feel like you're being kicked this time. And that could be, again, in a personal relationship, in friendships or groups of friends, things like groups of friends. I think that's a real possibility for some folks. But also too at work, business partnerships, you're never quite sure where you're going to be feeling it from. Well, if you know a little astrology, you may know where you're going to feel it from. But the sense is that you are either getting rid of stuff or maybe you're being gotten rid of. And yet, in either case, when we look at that Sun conjunct Uranus energy on Friday and then carrying it out through the weekend, which is relatively harmonious, stable energy as the moon goes into Aquarius and so on, what we're looking for is the fact that, wow, it kind of hurts to take the splinter out, but once it's out, you feel much better. So whatever is lost this week, particularly in the early part of the week, try to look at it as a positive thing. Try to look at it as clearing the space for something else to come in. Now, of course, you want that to be something that you want. And it may be real hard to see exactly what that is at the beginning of the week. But come Friday and the weekend, you're all good. But remember, this doesn't really speak to you personally. Bye.